In August 1994, an auditor sat down to write a report about a bank's office in Singapore. He was not investigating a fraud. Nobody had alleged one. This was routine internal audit work, the kind of exercise that produces a document most people will skim and file. In it, he recorded that one employee in that office was running the trading desk and also running the department that settled the trades. He recommended that the two jobs be separated. He gave a reason. The reason was to reduce the possibility of error and fraud. He was right. The employee was Nick Leeson, and by the time that sentence was typed, he had already concealed losses for 2 years. The recommendation was never implemented. 6 months later, Barings Bank ceased to exist. Barings was founded in 1762. It had helped finance the Louisiana Purchase. It had survived the Napoleonic Wars, 2 world wars, and a near collapse in 1890, brought on by Argentine debt, that required a rescue organized by the Bank of England. It was the oldest merchant bank in Britain, and in 1995 it was 233 years old. It was destroyed in under 3 years by an accounting mechanism designed to correct typing mistakes. To understand how, you need to understand one procedure. It is not complicated, and it is the only technical thing in this episode. When a trader buys or sells, 2 things happen. The trader makes the deal. Then somebody else in a different department, reporting to a different manager, records it, confirms it against the exchange, and reconciles the money. That second department is called settlement, or the back office. Its function is not clerical. Its function is to be a witness. The trader says, "I bought 1,000 contracts at this price. Settlement checks whether that is true." If the 2 records disagree, somebody has made a mistake, or somebody is lying, and either way it surfaces within a day. The whole structure rests on one condition. The person making the claim cannot be the person checking it. In accounting, this is called segregation of duties. It is among the oldest ideas in the discipline. Older than the profession, older than Barings. It is not a sophisticated defense. It is the flaw. At Baring Futures Singapore, Nick Leeson was both. In July 1992, an inexperienced member of staff made a trading error. Errors happen. Every trading operation has a mechanism for them. An error account, where a mistaken trade is parked until it can be corrected and cleared. Leeson opened one. Its number was 888888. There was nothing improper about opening it. Error accounts are ordinary. They exist precisely so that mistakes have somewhere to go that is visible. What made 888888 different was that Leeson controlled the department that would otherwise have looked inside it. The error was absorbed. The account stayed open. Over the next 2 years, Leeson used it to hide losses from his own trading. Each loss was moved into 888 rather than reported. The reported figures showed a profitable desk. The account showed the truth, and the account was not read, because the man who would have read it was the man filling it. By the end of 1992, it held losses in the millions. It kept growing. There was no point at which the concealment could be undone, because undoing it meant disclosing everything that had come before. Which brings us back to August 1994. The internal audit did not find account 88888888. It is important to be precise about this. The auditor did not uncover the fraud and did not claim to. What he found was the condition that permitted it. He recorded that Leeson held both roles. He recommended they be separated. He stated that the purpose was to reduce the possibility of error and fraud. That is the entire episode, contained in one paragraph of an internal document, written 6 months early, by someone who was not looking for a crime, and found the hole where one would fit. The report went to management. The director responsible for the Singapore operation responded in writing. In his management response, he stated that Leeson would cease to perform certain functions, and that he himself would ensure adequate supervision of the settlement and recording processes. According to the official inquiry, he then took no significant step to bring the segregation about. Leeson kept both jobs. The inquiry would later find something else worth sitting with. There were no clearly laid down reporting lines for Leeson through the management chain. It was not simply that a recommendation went unimplemented. It was that there was no unambiguous answer to the question of whose job it was to implement it. There is a reason these recommendations are so easy to leave alone, and it is not conspiracy. Leeson's desk appeared to be extremely profitable. Acting on the report meant taking apart an arrangement that was, on the reported numbers, working. The cost of acting was immediate and visible. The cost of not acting was theoretical. It stayed theoretical for 6 months. There was a second signal, and it was arriving continuously. Leeson's positions required margin, cash posted to the exchange to cover open trades. He requested it from London, representing it as margin owed on behalf of clients. It was margin on his own concealed positions. London sent it, then sent more. The sums escalated over the final months. The official inquiry found that management in London did not adequately question why a trading operation reporting large profits required ever-increasing amounts of cash to be shipped to it. This is the part that is hardest to explain and easiest to understand. A profitable business generates money. This one consumed it in growing quantities, and the people wiring the funds were reading profit reports that Leeson's own department produced. By early 1995, the external auditors had a question about a receivable, a large sum owed to Barings by a firm called Spear, Leeds and Kellogg. In January, the auditor's Singapore office sought help from London to confirm that the firm was a genuine, ongoing, credit-worthy customer. On the 3rd of February, Leeson produced 2 faxes. One appeared to come from a senior Barings executive in London, confirming the transaction. One appeared to come from Spear, Leeds and Kellogg, acknowledging the receivable. Both were forged. It was established afterwards that they were forgeries. At the time, according to the Singapore inspector's report, the auditors appeared satisfied. A confirmation exists to be evidence from outside. Its entire value is that it does not come from the person being checked. This one did. And it passed because it looked like what it was pretending to be. Leeson had sold a straddle on the Nicky, a position that pays if the index stays inside a range and loses without limit if it moves far enough in either direction. It was a bet on stillness. On the 17th of January 1995, an earthquake struck Kobe. The Nicky fell sharply. He did not close the position. He increased it, buying heavily, apparently attempting to move the index back up himself. It did not come back. On the 23rd of February, Leeson left Singapore. He left behind a note reported to have read, "I'm sorry." The losses came to approximately £827 million, more than twice the bank's available capital. Once the positions were finally closed out, the figure was higher still. On the 26th of February 1995, Barings was placed in administration. 233 years ended by a shortfall discovered over a weekend. It was bought by ING for £1. Leeson was detained at Frankfurt Airport on the 2nd of March. He was extradited to Singapore that November, pleaded guilty to 2 charges of cheating, and on the 2nd of December 1995 was sentenced to 6.5 years. He served roughly 4 and was released in 1999 following a diagnosis of colon cancer. On the 18th of July 1995, the Board of Banking Supervision published its inquiry into the collapse, and the Chancellor reported it to the House of Commons the same day. The report is careful, procedural, and unsparing. It identifies the absence of segregation between front office and back office as the failure that made everything else possible, which the bank already knew. The thing worth holding on to about Barings is not that a trader hid losses. Traders have hidden losses before and since. It is that the control which would have stopped him was not missing. It was known to be missing. It had been identified, written down, given a reason, addressed to management, and answered in writing by a director who said it would be dealt with. The document existed. It was 6 months early. It named the exact mechanism. Nobody had to discover anything. Somebody had to do something. That is what a material weakness is, not the fraud. The unlocked door that everybody had already walked past, and that at least one person had taken the trouble to write down.